Hi guys, I am working on tying in my washer dryer lines, and I've actually tied it in. I just remembered, hey, I should do a video on this. It might be helpful for some people. This has probably been ongoing for a couple weeks, but I end up working on it a little bit, 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, testing things, not getting to work. So let me just show you here. I've got my washing machine here, and these are the tools that I ended up using today. I'll give you a little bit more details on this. What I ended up doing is I got the red line is the hot line, the blue line is the cold line, and so I have it plugged in here, and this is where I get the water that goes in the washer, um, and then you'll see it wraps around, comes up. This is, I believe, a 6-foot line. And I installed, this is a 1/2 inch, and you'll see this is galvanized pipe and it says 1/2 inch on it. You can't really see it. Maybe you can't see it right now, but I got this connector here, and then it goes into these, I believe it's called a hose bib. And then these go into the hose bib. So I've got a 1/2 inch hose bib that goes into the galvanized line, and then it goes into my pre-existing galvanized line. And if I follow it over here, you'll see that goes into this cast iron sink basin with these two water lines here. I actually ended up going to like 2 different hardware stores, the one locally here, and usually I tell them what I want to do. So I said, hey, I want to connect these the laundry lines, the water that feeds the washer, into a separate line, not just directly into the taps for my sink basin. And the guy didn't really know what to give me. He gave me the hoses, but he didn't know about the hose bibs and then the galvanized pipe. So I went back to my old hardware store, which is all the way out in Chicago. It's about half an hour from here. And the people that work there, they know, the lady there, she in the plumbing department really knows it really well. And like immediately she grabbed these 2 of them for me, 2 galvanized 1/2 inches, the connectors, and then the 2 hose bibs. And then let me show you what I used to connect them, these 4 tools. And at the beginning, if you do a job like this, you'll be like, okay, I need the plumbing wrench. And then you'll work on it and you'll find like you can't get the old. Let me show you what was on there before. I had these caps on there, and then I took them off and I used this wrench, but it was really hard to get off. So I ended up using the hammer, and what I do is when I put that wrench on there, I kind of bang the end of this, the wrench, and that gives me more torque. So I torqued off these pieces, got them off. And also what I did was on the taps here, I released the water. Some of it's gonna drain down here. Because of the pressure, it kind of holds water in the line up here. And so I'm gonna loosen this here and get the water to drain. And then some of the water is gonna start running out of here when you take the caps off. I don't know if you can see it there. So once I take that off, then I tie in these 2, and I put them in as tight as I can. I'm not super strong. I weigh 130 pounds. So I'll wrench it on with a plumbing wrench. And then you don't want it like super too tight or you'll break the threads. So for galvanized pipe, for me, I put it on there pretty strong. If I were to estimate, probably because I'm 130 pounds, I'd probably do about 100 pounds, 120 pounds of torque pressure wrenching it, but maybe about 60 to 80 pounds maybe. And then I wrench it on there, and then I wrench these on there. And then when I wrench them on real tight, I want them positioned downwards, and I want this positioned angled. So I get as tight as I can, and I do just a little bit of a turn to get it in where I want to. Now this might turn like another half turn. You have to play around with it. You don't want it over too tight and you don't want it too loose, obviously. But once you get it fairly tight, I would say like 100 foot-pounds of torque on there. And I don't know if you'd be able to get an idea of how much that is, but if you go to the gym and you lift weights, like what's 20 pounds, you know, lifting weights, what's 40 pounds lifting weights, and then how much is 100 pounds lifting weights, it's quite a lot. So, but at the same time, you don't want to torque it too much and again, like break the threads, or make it so tight that you can't take it off next time. For me, that's kind of a problem. And then what I ended up using to tie this in is it's a very tight space behind this because the wall's right here. So I ended up tying it right here, and I ended up using this really cool wrench. And this is actually a really unique wrench. It's a Stanley FatMax 10-inch long. I got it on eBay. It's actually an adjustable, which means that this moves in and out. You can make it bigger and smaller. And it is a, what do you call it? It's adjustable, and it's also like this thing pops in and out. So you actually don't have to take it off and then put it back in. Here, I'll demonstrate for you. If I'm tightening it, I would go in like this. Let's see if I can get this in. I'll show you. So it's on there, right? Let me show you, as if I had tightened it like that, because it's already tight. I don't really want to tighten it, but okay, so it's tightened like that, but I can actually bring it back down. It'll lock back in place, and then I can start tightening it again. Kind of have to play around with the adjustment here a little bit, loosen it a little bit, but then now you can torque it in. Then I can loosen it a little bit, bring it down, torque it, and then bring it back up again. Really cool wrench. They don't sell it at the hardware store because I think sales are down, and also some of you might find that it doesn't lock in place very well, and it doesn't. Sometimes it'll like be too loose and it'll come out. So you kind of have to know how to use it and be careful with getting it to lock in place before you start torquing and putting force to turn and tighten it. And with tools like this, if you don't use it right, you'll break your own tools as well. So, and then finally, I got this one here. There was a deal going at Menards for $1.11 for this item. Now I have one in my toolbox already, which I had found in my house, like a used one, but this is new, and it's got these really nice teeth on here. And then what I ended up doing is tying in the hose line right here. I'm just kind of giving you an idea, but I would basically put the teeth of this on there and then tighten it down. And there you have it. There's a hose install. There's more to this project. I'm still trying to tie in my water basin, the water outflow lines, and this has been ongoing. Like, I probably revisited this like 3 or 4 times. Let me just show you. Underneath, I don't know if it's too dark here, but underneath here is my hose line. I had to cut this pipe out. It used to be a galvanized pipe, about 2 inches. And over here, you'll see I used a, right there, I used a rubber boot. My big concern is I had to cut this all out because it was, you see over here, I don't know if you can see very well, there's a 2-inch pipe, and it feeds into that line right here. I put a boot here, and before I put it, I cut the whole line underneath the sink basin, and I put this PVC line in here, and I put a 45-degree turn. Here, I'll show you from underneath.
I put this 45-degree turn in, which worked out pretty well, fortunately. But my concern is if I had to, so I cut this out because the line was all plugged up, and I saw it when I cut the line. Uh, well, how did I figure this out? I cut the line initially.
I cut the line out initially because I wanted to install my laundry line in, but then once I cut the pipe, I found that there was a lot of obstruction inside the line, and I could clean it out, but then I knew, like, because it was about, I don't know, let's say 50-60% obstructed, I knew that that was going to continue pretty far down. So I cut more of it, and then I ended up cutting it all the way down to like almost to the what do you call it, the T junction point. And once I got there, fortunately a lot of the obstruction was gone. Then I took a I wish I had it here to show you, but I had kind of something to clean out the line, and I stuck it down probably about 6 feet down, and I brushed the line out from there all the way down, and so fortunately I think that line is clear. I had to do this on a lot of my lines, like my kitchen line, my bathroom sink, well, different issues. So like my kitchen line, the plumbing was bad for the water to flow, so I had to install PEX. I can show you that here. Putting in PEX lines. And then my, if it's not too dark over here, I can show you. Ended up doing PEX over here. No, it's too dark. I ended up doing PEX over here for my the lines that provide flow to my bathroom, and then I had to reinstall the fixtures for the bathtub, and then I had to clean the sink, and then install the bathroom sink back on the wall. But that the lines go up like behind the wall, so I had to install that. So I mean, these are where you save like thousands. Like this is probably, after all this is said and done, I probably saved like $3,000. These washer and dryers, I mean, I bought them for like $100 for the pair. And I think if you had bought these new, I went to an appliance store last weekend. It was just walking and shopping, just kind of looking at different stores, and a washer dryer set could run like about $1,000. And if you get the high end ones, it could cost you $2,000. So here's my hookup here. This is for the dryer vent, and down here you just plug it in down here, and there's like a little there's like a metal thing. You just squeeze this, and then it tightens down. And then well, this is obviously the electric cord down here. Pretty simple. And then here's the gas line hookup. And if you follow the hose line, you'll see that it's hooked up here. You have to use this yellow tape. Technically, you don't have to if you know how to tighten it down the right way. But there's gas tape. And then if you follow it all the way up here, well, I didn't do any more of that install there. So that was, I connected that line, but I need to get connectors for that. So basically, you just kind of play around with that, and if it doesn't connect the right way, you'll need to know the size of the pipe. I think this is probably a 1/2-inch gas line as well. I bring the hose line, or I ask them for the hose line. I take pictures of it, and I take it to hardware store and I ask them. Sometimes I don't know the right sizes. I think in the future, as I continue these projects, I will probably write down and organize some notes on the size of these lines, because I'm really not good with the size, and I'll keep samples of different sizes so I can compare the tubes. Technically, I think you could also measure it, but sometimes they refer to the inside diameter of the line, sometimes they refer to the outside diameter of the line. It gets a little bit confusing for me. And then with experience, I'll have a better idea. Like, these water lines are 1/2 inch. That's very common. And then the gas line might be 1/2 inch, or it might be 3/4 inch. And then I'll just become more familiar. I could show you my furnace some other time. I think that's like a whole new topic. But furnace has gas lines, electrical lines, and then duct work that's involved. And the electrical lines have certain size pipes. The gas line has certain electric size pipes. They may or may not be different size as for the laundry machine. I don't remember exactly, but they look like the same size. Anyway, I think that was hopefully that was helpful. I'm gonna go ahead and go. Oh, one last thing. So I'm going to the hardware store and I'm going to be getting a connection that will probably tie. Let's see if I can give you a good shot of this. So I have my pipe here at the end. I've got this one right here, and I'm gonna plan to get a new, like a rubber line that will connect at the end of this here, right here. And this will then put a 90-degree turn instead of like this Y-shaped thing. So I'm going to, it's probably going to be hard to see exactly how I'm going to do this because it's so dark down here. But I'm going to do a 90-degree turn down here. Let me see if I can. I'm going to put a 90-degree turn so it angles, it orients this. Here, I'll just show it over the sink basin. So it orients this sort of like this, and then that way this hose can hook up pointed towards the washing machine, and then the tube will just go right in there. And then at this end of it, it's going to be closed off, and on this end of it, it's going to have the 90-degree turn, and the water will just shoot that way. And this here, obviously this won't be here because it'll be a 90-degree turn instead. So I've had to kind of just play around with this because of the way the pipes go underneath the sink, and then having to go back to the hardware store because I've gotten wrong parts. Right now there's a plastic tube that's connected, and the tube's a little bit bigger. It's maybe a different connection. So I'm gonna try and get the rubber tube instead, and it's a smaller tube. But then I don't know if it's gonna connect to the washing machine on the washing machine side the right way. So I'm gonna take all the pre-existing tubing I have now, take it to the plumbing store, and then ask them, hey, look, this is what I wanna do. This is what I currently have. What do I keep? What do I return? Should I use connectors and keep the pre-existing plastic tube, or just get a new rubber tube? And then, the rubber tube, if I get the rubber tube, I don't know how it's gonna connect to the laundry machine on the back because the plastic tube is bigger on the laundry side connection point. So a few kinks that I need to work out here before I get this all connected. But again, like if I had somebody else do all this is probably, I don't know, might be like $300, $400. Well, for the plumbing, that's where the prices go up a lot. And then also if a plumber has to go back to the hardware store and get the parts, $300 to $500 probably, and that doesn't include the materials. Probably like another $100 for the materials. We're probably looking, and yeah, man, I mean, I had someone call me and say, hey, they wanted this type of installation, and they said they needed city permits and stuff like that, and some village of Chicago suburbs. This could potentially be like $1,000 setup. Now, I think I got a quote one time from a plumber, and he was like, to get the installation for a washer dryer and a closet near the kitchen, I think he was asking like $1,000 for that installation. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised given the amount of time and going back and forth. Given, plumbers charge $120 to $170 an hour in the city of Chicago. And then, all the plumbing they've done up here in the kitchen and the bathroom. This is probably $5,000 of plumbing work that's been done here already. And then if you count the furnace, if I did a quote online for a furnace install, $3,500 to $7,000 to do a furnace install. And I think that's just the installation alone. but they probably cut you a deal if you buy a furnace. Furnace you could buy for 1,200. I don't know. The one I have is probably like $1,200 to $2,000 unit if you buy it new. So there you go, save like another $9,000 for that. But I don't know, that sounds a little bit high. Maybe $7,000 to do that, including in the furnace. I think if you got a coupon deal, you could probably get it for like $3,500 to get the furnace, including the all of the hookups. But again, they're gonna tack on extra fees if they have to do special duct work, which mine needed like a lot of specialized duct work done, and that probably would be another $2,000 on there. So, all right, well, hopefully that was a helpful video, and I'll see you guys next time.